I'm the Commissar. We're watching Forged Alliance Forever, and you might be suffering the same sweltering heatwave that we have here in Europe. If so, where better to go than the beach? Today's players have had the same idea. Unfortunately, both teams want all the beach to themselves. Who's going to come out on top? Let's find out. What a relief it is to me to have a nice simple 2v2 after the 7x7 madness of last week. Well, this is 2v2 ladder. We've got a cold team up here and a hot team down here. Now, if you were paying attention in the splash screen, you'll notice that I didn't actually write the ratings in, and I'll explain why that is in just a second. Meanwhile though, let's meet the teams. Hot team first. Down here, in this little harbour where you can see a lot of nice wrecks standing around for reclaim, this is YungDookie, who is UEF, he's Burgundy. And his teammate down here, who's opened first to air, he's also gone UEF. This is Ops-MyBad. We've seen him before as Hersher of Death and Sailor Follow-I, so if I accidentally call him Hersher, that's why. That's who it is. However, now he's going by Ops-MyBad, so I'm going to try and call him that. And he's queuing up a second air as we speak. Cold team. Up here, also opening first air, we have FeodaL. He's gone Seraphim, and he's in dark blue. And last but not least, another UEF player. This is MintAlex, who is in light blue. So, I didn't talk about their ratings, because as you can see, the game balance says it's 50%, FeodaL says he's 0 rated. All of this is very misleading, because none of these players have played many 2v2 ladder games. And in actual fact, both of Cold Team are around 1600 global, Young is around 1300 global, and Ops is around 1800 global. So that's the actual ratings we're talking about. And now let's talk about the map. This is Fangtooth Islands. It's a full 20k, so that's quite big for just a 2v2. And it's going to take a disproportionately long amount of time compared to what you might be used to in a 2v2 for units to get across. Look how slow that T1 scout appears to be moving. There is decent amounts of reclaim on all of these islands. It mostly takes the form of rocks. But as we saw here, there are quite large wrecks of naval bases for the players to reclaim near their starting position. So that's going to get them all off to a pretty fast start. And these islands, you sort of expect one island to go to each player, like so. With these corner islands and the middle island going to be the most contested. And we immediately see that Cold Team are the first to get their drops out. We can see Ops loading up there, but FeodaL has already landed an NG on his expansion island, and he's sending more down here, and he's even going to try and drop one here, looking at the move orders. Oh, this is a different proposition from Alex, though. MintAlex is taking his transport. He's not putting even a single engineer down. He's preferring to take this by just walking his comm over. And he's going to go straight for a drop on the island that we would assume would otherwise be YungDookie's. And he's loading a full load of 6 engineers off here. This could be quite the unpleasant surprise for Cold Team if he's able to get some production up and running here. And he's immediately queued up a big load of factories there to work on the radar so we can see what's coming. And do Hot Team know about that? They haven't a clue. Young, however, is the only player who looks like he's sending any engineers towards the middle. He drops off one and then he sends the rest to continue on his island. There's decent amounts of reclaim on the middle, but Young is stopping to pick up the mexes first, and I don't blame him for that. So FeodaL's only put down one NG on the island that I'm going to call Ops' Island. He's built a mech, a radar, and he's going for reclaim for the rest of it. So he's not going to try and hold this. He's just he is just going to get what resources he can of it before Ops kicks him off. Now, Young is going to find out what he's up against in terms of Alex's drop here, and he sees it before landing, pulls his units away, and he's going to put them down here to grab some reclaim. That's a nice move, but... oh no, he's going to put them down here to try and put up a point defense, but Alex already has a tank out, and he's probably going to... if he micros it, there we go, he's going to be able to shoot down these NGs before they're able to get the point defense up and cause him any further pain. Cold Team are also going for the corner islands. You can see here, Alex has a transport there, FeodaL has a transport there. I haven't seen anything matching that from Hot Team yet. But what I have seen Hot Team doing that Cold Team aren't, they're going for these underwater mexes down here. You can see that Young's picked up these, Ops has picked up these, and I don't see a single underwater mech as yet picked up by Cold Team. So that could make a difference. And the other thing is, Alex has been really aggressive here. Look, he has got 4 factories spamming tanks down here, and I don't think Young's going to be able to set up a defensive position here, but it does mean that Alex has only claimed 1 mech on this entire island, whereas Ops has picked up most of his, and you can see that being reflected in the ecos here. Hot Team have a mass lead of between 10 and 20, depending on how the position looks as it goes along. Now, we said that FeodaL hadn't really put much on this island, and indeed he's just driving the NG away from it as he sees tanks coming in from Ops. And Ops will be able to take these out, but one could argue that they've done their job, and this NG has reclaimed 120 mass as well as picking up these 2 mexes, which will have gathered a decent amount of mass in the time they've been around. Another thing that FeodaL can do to stop Ops getting this just for free is he's got Zoe's Hover Arty. The hovering Arty is going to make life difficult for these non-amphibious units, because as the only Serra or Eon in the game, FeodaL is the only player with access to T1 hover units, and he is making use of them right here. But we're going to have to go into a play-by-play here as Alex brings in a transport full of NGs and drops it straight onto Young's main island, and he starts work on a PD. Meanwhile, we noted that Young was the only player trying to take control of mid to start with. Well, FeodaL is going to see to that. He has brought a bunch of Zoes across the water ahead of his engineer in order to clear Young out from the island, and I don't think Young has got much to stop him down here. Alex is using his NGs to build this PD, but Young has seen it and he's got his NGs in on the reclaim maneuver. One of Alex's 5 NGs is down and the others are soon to follow, but the PD is up. And it has opened fire. Young is now trying to reclaim Alex's PD, but I don't think he's going to make it. Meanwhile, do you remember Alex was getting work done on Young's island? Well, look at this. His tanks, still streaming in from these 4 factories up here, have reached Young's actual expansion just across the water from his main base, and they are getting work done. I don't think Young's going to be able to hold this island any longer. Alex's PD clears up Young's NGs and opens fire on the factory. Young has 1 more NG creeping in, but I don't know if that's going to do the damage. Oh, it might. The PD is in the red, but it retargets the NG and takes it out. The PD has opened fire on the factory, and I think this factory is going to go down. This one PD is doing a phenomenal amount of work. Look at all the wrecks around it. Back to Alex's invasion of Young's island, and his tanks just continue to swarm in. Young's got actually quite a lot of mechs here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 available to him, as well as these over here, which Alex might clear up later. And I think that poor old Young is going to lose all of them, along with his hydro. That's excellent work from Alex. Young's bringing in frigates here, which will probably be able to clean up these T1 tanks, but their work is basically done. Alex's PD and Young's base is targeting this T2 mech, so we can see that Young's got bombers coming out now to try and deal with it, but he's probably going to lose this mech. Meanwhile, remember that we saw that FeodaL had gone to the bottom corner island uncontested. Well, Ops has just sent an NG in, and he's stealing the mexes, which I think he's going to get for free. And FeodaL has started doing the same with Young's mid-mexes, but I don't think either player is actually paying attention. Oh yeah, there we go. See FeodaL capturing this mex? Good work. But Young, definitely not paying attention. I think we're about to see a little reclaim war here. Young notices and gets away just in time. And then turns back. And now it's FeodaL's turn not to notice as Young's almost dead engineer eats it up. Marvellous. The bombs from YungDookie are dropping on Alex's PD, and I think they're going to be in time to save this second mex. Yes, they are. Still, what amazing work from this drop. Meanwhile, Ops has been ecoing like anything, and so despite them being a whole island down thanks to Alex's drop, Hot Team are still just about in the eco lead. The Cold Team are closing that. What I need to watch now is this. We have a drop of tanks coming in from Ops, landing on FeodaL's southernmost expansion on his island, and there isn't really enough firepower here to have anything to stop this. The radar's down, the mexes are going down. Ops doing quite a lot of damage. Yeah, I think this factory is for the chop, and then Ops can just take out this expansion freely. Meanwhile, we've also got some good underwater raiding going on here by Hot Team, and there isn't any torpedo defense around these mexes or any nearby subs. So I think that Young will be able to pick up a decent amount of eco kills here, and he's also doing the same around the top, clearing out all of Hot Team's mexes. And of course, since Alex is UEF, his sub can just torp the engineers here. Meanwhile, having wiped out this expansion down here, Ops' drop is moving up, taking out another mex here belonging to FeodaL, but FeodaL has come out of the water in person to shoot up the raid, and I think that he should be able to handle this quite easily. It's just 5 or 6 tanks against a comm. And so he does. That said, these tanks are faster than the comm, and so there's a chance that Ops will be able to move them out of the range, and they are going to pick up another mix kill. Nice. And FeodaL is moving into the water before this one is dead. That might be a misstep on his part. However, Young still hasn't been able to take back his island from Alex, but he is sending bombers and T1 Navy to try and clear it up. Might take a while to work its way through all these tanks though. However, eco is still in the hands of Hot Team as we speak, despite this island being entirely in Cold Team hands, and Alex has started developing it here. Now, FeodaL has been first to T2 Navy, and he has a destroyer out here threatening Ops Island. Ops has also reached T2 Navy, and he has in fact got more on the field thanks to this phenomenal amount of assistance. But it isn't yet in position yet where it can really help out against this destroyer. However, FeodaL is hanging back with this destroyer. I think he could be doing more with it. And the cruiser, with missiles that the UEF cruisers have, out from Ops, is taking out the mexes on the mid-island that FeodaL has put up. And down here, having snuck round the side, there's quite a large band of subs from Ops that have taken out these water mexes belonging to Cold Team, and he's reinforcing it with more T1 Navy. Now, while Young may only have T1 Navy, it does look like he's managed to drive back Alex from his island. There are riptides in here now, which would be a little harder for the T1 Navy to clear up. And they are massing. We'll have to see whether they are able to achieve anything in time. But right now, FeodaL has his T2 Navy and he's got a cruiser coming out. Alex has just hit T2 Navy and has got a torpedo boat out. But will those couple of T2 units be enough to stop this reasonably sized T1 Navy from Young, and this reasonably sized T1 Navy from Ops, coming in to try and sandwich FeodaL's naval production? And they're coming in. FeodaL has actually got 2 destroyers out here and he's bringing them back, so if Young and Ops want to get work done here, it's gonna have to be fast. But it looks like that's the plan. They're heading in towards FeodaL's naval factory. And the next unit out for FeodaL is another cruiser. That is not what he wants. He wants his destros here, and he wants them here sharpish. He does have a T1, in fact he has 3 now, T1 torpedo launchers, and that will really help against the T1 Navy. And his destroyers roll in. I think it's going to be enough to save his naval yard. Yeah, that's not taking enough damage, and this will in fact be quite a nice reclaim dump for FeodaL to pick up. Nice defense. Although it has meant that Ops can mass his T2 Navy out here, where FeodaL can do little about it. Meanwhile, we said we'd check on those riptides belonging to Alex, and he has sent them across the water to try and take out the naval HQ belonging to Ops. Now, that's quite bold if you ask me. They've come a long way and there's a lot of naval production here, which might be enough to shut down this riptide push, but he's going for it. There's a lot of engineers he could kill here if he goes in and just targets them, which would slow down Ops' naval production quite significantly, I think. However, we have an air response coming in from Young, whose T1 bombers are really going to smash it down, and the T2 Navy that we have from Ops is also going to help finish them off. There's a few more coming in, but I don't think they're going to get work done. Alex agrees, and he retreats. Meanwhile, though, that's a strat I see out from Ops. Where's it heading? I think it's heading up here to try and shut down Alex's T2 production, because all these 4 factories are now T2 on Young's Island, and that's going to be a big source of riptide. You can see them massing down here. If they don't stop it. The strat comes in and it gets the bomb away, and blam! The mechs is down and all 4 of these factories are heavily damaged. Just one more pass on the same location and all of these factories are out. Boom! Isn't that beautiful? But what is this I see? What is this I see? This is a Continental Ghetto. A full load of 28 labs on board a Continental T3 transport, and it's just flying over the tanks belonging to Alex and it's shooting them up. Isn't that a beautiful sight, my loyal viewers? Do you not love to see a bit of Continental Ghetto action? And I mean, it's got to do work. The strat is taking hits from the flak and might go down, but this Continental shield could well be enough to protect it from the flak for long enough to do the damage. The strat hits a lot of that flak, but there are now fighters coming in, inties from Cold Team, and they shoot the strat down. But the Continental just keeps on doing its dirty work. The navies are massing here and here, but they're not engaging just yet. And now there are 2 of them. 2 Continentals full of labs, built by Ops-MyBad and ready to go and hit some of Alex's units. 4 flaks is quite a lot to worry about, but there's no more reinforcement coming from those factories which just Strat took out. One of the Continental shields goes down and all the labs die in a flak explosion. That's the risk of using a ghetto gunship. A flak can take out all the labs if it breaks through. And that's what happened here. Okay, all but 4 of the labs. However, one Continental is still up and running and completely unstoppable. However, I think it's time to go into play-by-play. And that's because FeodaL is closing in to take the naval fight against Ops. Ops has UEF shield boats with him, which are very nice. But that's a lot of distros for FeodaL. And these are mainly cruisers for Ops. So I think this fight might go FeodaL's way. Yeah, there's a destroyer, another one back here for Ops, but that might be too little too late as Alex swarms in his torpedo boats. There is an air response from Young. That's a lot of gunships, but there's now Seraphim cruisers, and with their flak, Sera cruisers are amazing against gunships. So this could be trouble for Hot Team. Meanwhile, Alex's island is under threat from that Ghetto Continental belonging to Ops. It's moved on from defending Young's island and has gone on to attacking Alex's, and you can see this line of T1 anti-air trying to be thrown up, but that's going to take some time to work through the Continental's heavy shield. It does, but since this isn't flak, it's having difficulty picking off the labs. However, the Continental is nearly down. I think it might be forced into retreat soon enough. Nope, the engineers are all dead, so it's able to take out the anti-air turrets and carry on doing its dirty work. Back to the naval fight, and we can see here that there are reinforcements coming in from Ops, but there are also reinforcements coming in from FeodaL, and it feels like Core Team are on top of this fight. It feels like they're cleaning this up as Ops backs away. And Young's only got T1 in here, and against this many destroyers, he's going to get completely shredded. Yeah, FeodaL cleans up and he's able to push in as Ops is just fleeing. We do have a naval raid going around the bottom here, and I'll come back to that in a second. But now, okay, Ops looks like he might be ready to take the fight, and that's why, because he's now brought another Continental Ghetto gunship to join the fun. Another? Make that 3! He's brought 3 Continental Ghetto gunships, and they are opening fire. The cruiser is obviously the first target, because that's the only thing that can really damage these out of FeodaL's fleet, as his destroyers don't have any anti-air capacity whatsoever. And look how much they've just sunk in a matter of seconds. This is amazing work. Okay. What looked like a clear naval win for Core Team has completely been taken back, and all the reclaim, of which there is about 8 to 10,000 there, is able to be taken by Young and Ops. That's amazing. Meanwhile, Young is recolonizing his island that, thanks to the ghettos and the strat, is now available for him to take back. Alex hasn't tried redropping here. And Young is rebuilding, but in the meantime, Core Team have been able to swing ahead in eco, and they're now 50 ahead, which is a pretty decent lead, and they've got more total mass collected. However, Ops has snuck this navy all the way round the back into FeodaL's production, however, and he does kill this mechs here, which is nice, using his destroyer's firepower, and he'll probably be able to pick up some of these underwater mechs with destroyer torpedoes. However, FeodaL's production is here, and he has rolled out a destroyer of his own, and in fact he's sunk one of Ops' boats right there. And now he's heading south. Is he going to be able to save these mechs before the destroyer's torpedoes work through them? Well, we'll check back on whether or not that's successful in a moment, because I've just seen a Continental... Okay, it's not a full Continental load, it's only a half load. But that's still a decent load of tanks for Ops to be dropping here, and this eco will be denied to FeodaL once more as the tanks land. Is FeodaL going to be... That's actually, it's only T1, but there's quite a lot of them, and there are these T2 mechs here that could be freely taken. Looks like Ops' destroyer has been driven back by FeodaL only just before it was able to kill this mechs. Still, FeodaL's got the mechs, and that's what he cares about. He's also seen these tanks coming, and he's got his navy moving into position with destros on both sides. I don't think these are going to be able to get a great deal of work done. This mechs might go down, I'll give it that. But still, I don't think it's going to be a huge amount of shenanigans. Meanwhile, where are the Continental ghettos going? They're heading towards the middle island, and that could be pretty nice. And over here, Alex has brought a big bunch of 4 UEF missile cruisers to just make life difficult for Young in reclaiming this island. And okay, cruisers also here from Alex. That's nice because it actually shoots down one of the Continentals, and that's reasonably expensive in terms of mass loss there. Let's see how much it leaves. Ooh, that's painful. That Continental has landed and is taking tactical missile fire. Slight misstep there from Ops, but he's got a lot to take care of. Remember that mass underwater, reclaim underwater is like halved. That was quite a lot of mass invested in that Continental. However, if at first you don't succeed, more Continentals out from Ops. I love it. And we can see here that actually 2 mechs is lost for FeodaL before he was able to clean it up. Is this going to be another drop on FeodaL's island? Or is it just going to be trying to do the ghetto work? It's flying in, it's going for FeodaL. The T3P gen is down. FeodaL had a T3P gen fueling his T3 air, and thanks to this Continental and these gunships from Young, sorry I missed those coming in, that T3P gen is down, and that could really hurt FeodaL. He has actually still... oh no, as soon as he starts trying to build anything, he's leeching power off Alex, who has also gone for a T3 air grid. So, lucky him. Still, that Continental carries on, despite being into the red, and is able to just pick up 3 mechs basically for free. Ooh, time for a brief overview, I think. One thing I am going to mention is I've been shouting about Continental ghettos all this time. For my newer viewers who don't know what I'm talking about, Labs and Percy's are the only units which can shoot out of a transport. And that means that at T1, a very cheap gunship, or as it's termed in gaming slang, a ghetto gunship, it can be faked a T1 gunship by building a T1 transport and putting 6 labs on board, which is got a decent amount of DPS. However, you can also fire out of a Continental T3 transport, which is the only T3 transport, the UEF one. No other race has a T3 transport. And as you saw, you can fit 28 labs, or to come to that, 6 Percys, on a Continental transport. And they have an enormous amount of DPS between them. And that is how Ops was able to get such heavy firepower coming out of the air. However, this is where we have to look now, because we have the naval fight going down. And again, it feels like FeodaL has got slightly more, but this could be a game changer. We have a Neptune T3 battle cruiser out for it was out for Ops, but it's been given over to Young so he can micro it with his navy, and that could make all the difference in this fight. I wonder if Core Team know about it. I don't think they know about it. I don't think they know there was T3 Navy. Oh, they do know there's T3 Navy on the field, but they don't know there's a battle cruiser there until now, when it opens fire on them. So this could be a bit of a problem for Core Team. They do still have a pretty huge eco lead, but what matters that if all the things that they build are going to get torn apart by T3 Navy? And Alex is working towards T3 Navy. He's only just hit the upgrade, as we see in the notifications down there. So it's going to be a while before he gets anything out to fight off these Neptunes. And FeodaL is just being forced to fall back. What can he do against this? He's got Zuis coming in. No, I think they're just heading around to do some raiding. But he's got more Navy coming in. Oh, he does turn to take the engage. Oh, he's turned to take the engagement with all his units that can submerge. Because don't forget, Seraphim destroyers can submerge, and these cruisers have no answer to submerged units. These Destros are pretty decent, as is the Neptune, but these can still get some damage done before Ops and Young are able to answer it. And the shield boats are going down. That's nice to target them first, because it now means that this immense amount of submarine firepower can hit the Navy belonging to Hot Team. And I don't think they're going to threaten the Neptune, which has amazing torpedoes and amazing torpedo defense. But look at them tearing through the rest of the T1 and T2 Navy that Hot Team have in this position. Great work from FeodaL. Meanwhile, you may remember that Alex had these cruisers pestering Young's attempts to rebuild his island. The next Neptune out from Ops has come to handle them, and it will handle them very quickly. Just as on the land, Titans are much better at handling lower tech units, while Perseus are what you want to deal with other T3 units. The same is true for the UEF in the water. The Neptune is a sort of aquatic Titan, good at dealing with lower tech units, whereas the Summit is better at dealing with the heavier, higher tech stuff. And those 4 cruisers are just dead in seconds without getting a single hit on the Neptune. So there we go. Now over here, back to where FeodaL is under the water with his destroyers and submarines. They are still getting work done. And despite the Neptune, which has an excellent torpedoes and these torpedo defenses that Ops is throwing up in great numbers, as well as the destroyer he has here, damage is still being put out by this entire Navy, and I think this is a good choice from FeodaL, especially as the more that he can tie up Hot Team's Navy over here, the longer it allows Alex the chance to get T3 units of his own out. And now that he's seen T3 units on the field, I imagine he'll be going straight for the Summits himself, rather than stopping off at Neptunes. But while we're watching this, I want to take a moment to appreciate that Cold Team have a 200 mass per tick lead. That's like 50%, and that's despite the fact that the map controller is now back at roughly along the middle line here. They're producing half as much mass again as Hot Team. And the question now is simply, can they turn that into anything sufficiently powerful to win the game? Meanwhile, Young is also going for a T3 air grid, though I'm not... Where's his power? Okay, I think that Young must surely be leeching his power off his ally. Yes, he is, like anything. But luckily for him, Ops has power to spare. However, I wouldn't rely on that for long, and if I were Young, I would start getting my T3 gens up sooner rather than later. Meanwhile, FeodaL is going for the advanced regen aura. Now, because this is a percentage boost to hit points and a percentage of hit points boost to regen, this can be immensely powerful when used with high-tech naval units, but it does mean that your comm is on the front line at risk of getting shot. And if I were FeodaL, I would definitely want to equip myself with at least regular nano before going in on the front line to support my navy. Although it does work on your teammates' navy, so if you can give an extra however many hit points to this Summit battleship, plus a bit of regen, that will be amazing for him. And that Summit, as you can see, it's able to just range this Neptune, and it will be able to do quite a bit of damage. But one Summit against 2 Neptunes with a big bunch of shields as backup and a few torpedo boats and destroyers in there, That might be a little bit of a big ask, and seems like Alex agrees with me. He is calling his summit back. Now, it looks like Ops wants to engage here. This T2 production would be a nice pickup if he can take it out. And it looks like Alex is going to be forced to engage. FeodaL has his navy down here, and he's bringing it forward. He's also bringing his comm forward. And look at that cruiser with its 50 per second regen and 3200 hit points compared to the 2700 they normally have. That's the power of the regen over. And it should be even bigger on units like these summit battleships. But to do that, he's going to have to bring his comm right up front. And there are a lot of torpedoes here, as well as these torp bombers that Ops is massing. However, it does feel like with FeodaL and Alex's navies combined, there's enough to drive even this swarm of now 4 Neptunes from Ops back. Alex is losing his naval production here, and that can't be a nice feeling for him. The torpedo bombers come in, but there's an air response from both FeodaL and Alex, and though Ops has his ASFs back here, they're not in time to save the torps, and the torps could have got more work done if Ops had been in a position to take the airfight or even just bring his cruisers any nearer. And now there are 2 summits out from Alex, but Ops is bringing in more Neptunes all the time. Now he's up to 5, and things are looking a little bit sticky for Cold Team. Although while that's been going on, Alex has finished a nuke launcher. If you can fire that, imagine a defensive nuke right here. It would be amazing. Alex loses a battleship as the naval fight continues, and again FeodaL has submerged all his destros, which are getting the bonus of that regen field, and I think that is going to be pretty powerful for him. These Neptunes, they're good at torpedo defense, but with this many destroyers around and this amount of battleship firepower coming in, there is only so much that they can do. And now FeodaL's been forced to pull back a bit, and these units are heading up. I think they're going to try and destroy Alex's naval HQ as another summit goes down. He's got another one 50% done, but with only 1 summit remaining and 3 Neptunes plus a bunch of cruisers in the area, make that 4 Neptunes. This is going to be a big ask for Cold Team. FeodaL's navy is swarming in, and it has to go in fast, so it has to get out of the range. But there's a torp snipe. There's a huge torp snipe coming in on FeodaL's comm, and he is down into the red. However, FeodaL responds with his ASFs. He's seen it, and only a few torps get their bombs off for the second pass. 200 hit point. Boom! That was so close. All the torp bombers were dead. But they got off their bombs just in time, and FeodaL is taken out, leaving Alex all on his own. However, he does get his next summit out as his other one sinks. But these 4 Neptunes, this is going to be really difficult for him to deal with. However, they're targeting the summit rather than targeting the HQ. And sure, that's going to take the summit down. I said summits beat Neptunes, but 1 against 4? Numbers pay. However, 2 of the Neptunes are down, and this one is taking an immense amount of fire from the underwater destroyers. However, the naval HQ is down into the red, and there's still 1 Neptune alive, but it's only got 1,000 hit points left, and it's out! It's down and out before the naval HQ dies, and that's going to be immense for Alex. Meanwhile, the nuke launches. Where's it going? It's going for the main base belonging to Ops. Marvellous. Is it going to hit? I don't think he's got any SMD there. Meanwhile, Young is dropping tanks up here onto Alex's island, and we'll have to see how that pays off, because there's T2 mechs here it could kill, and while Alex has a lot of production, he doesn't have anything in position to stop it just yet. However, that nuke, this air grid could be an immense casualty if the nuke is able to take it all out. Are we going to see a nuclear hit on Ops air grid? Yes, we are. Do you not love to see that nuclear fire tearing somebody's base apart? If it's not yours, then I reckon you do, and there we go. Meanwhile, these tanks have been dropped, but then, in fact, there's a ferry order there to carry these all in one by one, but the cruisers from Alex are taking them out as they land, and on top of that, he's spamming in riptides in order to counter them. And if Young's not paying attention, which I don't think he is, because these guys are just standing still, he'll lose them basically all for free. How's the naval fight going, though? More of these Neptunes are swarming in all the time, but this horde of underwater destroyers has been doing sterling work for Alex. Well, for FeodaL first, and now for Alex having inherited them. Because Neptunes may have great torpedoes, but against this many destroyers, there's only so much they can do. These destroyers Alex hasn't submerged yet, and you can see that they're taking quite a lot of damage from the Neptunes. But look at this torpedo firepower, it's amazing. However, we do now have battleships as well as Neptunes, summit classes of his own coming out from Ops. And the naval fight could therefore be a little bit of a problem. However, Alex has built it experimentally. Do you know where he's built it? He's built it down here in the south with some T3 engineers that he dropped there. This could be a really nasty surprise for a hot team, but will it arrive in time? Because I can't help but feel that despite the sterling work that these submerged destroyers have done, there's just enough firepower from the battleships and Neptunes that it's not going to make the difference. Alex gets up at SMD and his nuke is reloading. I would put some shields here if I were Alex, knowing how close the enemy navy is. And look how much there's just swarming in the form of both more Neptunes and T1 spam, which is always great cover for your T3 units in a naval engagement. It's never too late to pump out more frigates to help out the fight. There's a time when T1 land stops being useful, but that's much less true of a naval fight, as these units are coming charging in towards Alex's base, and they can see that there isn't much in defense here. Where are Alex's shields? He desperately needs shields if these battleships are about to open fire on his base. Alex has a lot of torps in defense, and he's got a decent area. The strategic missile defense is noted by... Oh, look at that! The SMD is down just as the shield pops up, but while he can rebuild the shield, it's going to be a lot more trouble to kill the SMD. Does Young have a nuke of his own? Yes, he does. That's why he asked for it to be targeted. And that could be a really big problem for Alex, unless he can get this nuke into Young's base, because he is nearly loaded. And does Young have SMD? No, he doesn't. So if Alex fires first, that could be fantastic. There is SMD here for Ops, but that's not loaded either. So if Alex can nuke here, I think he will be in a much better position, although a defensive nuke would also be nice. He nukes. Where's it going? It's going for the naval production of Ops, and I understand that, but if he doesn't know about that nuke... He does know about the nuke. Maybe he just hasn't clocked it. That could be the biggest mistake of the game, not targeting the nuke belonging to Young with his own nuke. Because if Young nukes now... Oh, Alex has got an SMD up here, but he's not assisting it. I don't know if that's going to be loaded in time. And the Navy... Oh, let's watch this. I was about to talk about the Navy, but I want to watch this nuclear strike. Blam! That's the T3 naval production for a hot team, down and out. But what need have they of more T3 naval production at this very moment when their T3 Alex's T3 naval production went down to the battleships? His T2 naval production for FeodaL's old base went down, and so now he's only got T1 navy production as well. Except he's got battleships attacking his actual base. And these torpedo bombers might be able to do some work, but this is a lot of battleship firepower to get to, and Young nukes Alex's base. He's building a washer here, and we'll check back on that later. But what's happened here? The chicken has walked out of the water. That chicken that we saw being finished earlier, it's walked out of the water and is walking into Ops' main base. Isn't this beautiful? The egg got nuked earlier, and this is Ops' beginning attempt to rebuild, but what's it going to be able to do against the chicken? It's going to be carved apart. Isn't that fantastic? He's losing his T3P gens. Young's going for a Billy, and we'll check back on that in a moment, but right now we have the washer takes off, but the air grid is about to be toast for Alex. Kablam! Isn't that amazing? As you look at this, so all that navy is sweeping around the back. The washer will try to defend, but right now we have to look here. Young is trying to compete to Billy, but that's not going to finish as the chicken targets the power plant next to him. And Young is taken out in the P-Gen chain reaction as a chicken from Alex walks into his actual base. It's going to be able to destroy everything here. The HQs, the eco, everything. So there's basically going to be no tech reinforcing the attack from Hot Team. But do they need any more given the amount of destroyers they have up here? And torpedo bombers are being desperately pumped out here, and I think that the ASF that Alex had left over were enough to get him the air win. But will he be able to make use of the air win enough as SupCom hides in the water at the back here? The washer is coming in. Oh, these aren't destroyers, these are torpedo boats. Okay, fine. But the problem is they're quite fast, and the washer just missed there. He's going to have a problem cleaning up this with the slow-moving bombs of the washer. And without any naval production to turn to, and with only it has got T3, of course. FeodaL did have T3 there. But he's going to lose all his power. However, the chicken has dealt with Young's production. It actually left the HQ alive. That might be a mistake. Though I don't know if there's the eco left to run it. And it's coming back. It's looking for the comm belonging to Ops, which is in the water there. Does Alex know about it? He doesn't. But he's seeking, he's looking, that's what he wants, as a second chicken completes under the water over here. Will Alex remember it? Now, Alex is stood in the middle of this island as the washer desperately tries to defend. The island is surrounded by torpedo boats, which the washer is slowly working through, and he has rebuilt Tech 3 Navy now. If I were Ops, I would consider some cruisers or carriers just so that I could deal with the air response to my navy and then send in my destros for free. But it's found him. The chicken has found him, and it's ground firing the comm. Ops is taking damage. He's running away. Will he be able to get out of range of the chicken before it can ground fire him to death? I think he will, but that was a close shave. And the washer is doing its area defense. It's taking out the torpedo boats. But the destroyers are now moving around, and that's going to be a bit of a problem for Alex. This has been crazy. Look at this. There's a chicken completely threatening Hot Team's main island. The Hot Team have all the map control. The ecos are somehow about level. Let's have a look at mass killed. There is 125,000 mass killed lead for Hot Team, but there's 150,000 mass collected lead for Cold Team. However, Hot Team have more surviving infrastructure. I mean, that said, the chicken has killed the T3 Naval HQ again. But what could it do? The washer is coming and smashing everything that it can. It looks like it's now heading south to try and join the comm hunt. Has another chicken that when we saw being completed earlier is now heading up towards this island. But with the comm deep in the water, I don't feel Ops is under threat. And he's got the naval control just about everywhere now. And suddenly Alex's eco is being smashed to pieces, and I think that unless he can somehow use ground fire with the washers and the chickens to kill off Ops, I think that this crazy back and forth game is finally going to be over. The washer is dropping its bombs here. The second chicken is about to walk out of the water. But there's a lot of cruisers here now, and the washer is taking fire. How's Alex's comm doing? Well, this could be a bit of a problem. I think the destroyers have finally found him. Do they know that he's there? Yes, they do. All they need is a couple of quick volleys, and Alex, who has no upgrades at all, is just standing there completely naked out on the mountainside. I think Ops has cleverly set to hold fire so that he can take him by surprise with a single volley so that he doesn't have a chance to dodge. Is that what we're seeing here? I was disappointed to have been watching this for nothing while the washer was doing work. Oh, no, there we are. Blam! It was the battleships all along. And that's when they get you, the other 3 battleships that you didn't even know were there. And despite the fact that he has chickens and washers smashing all his base to pieces, Ops-MyBad, Hersher, wins the game for Hot Team. Wasn't that fantastic? Although it might not have won him the game, I do think that today's play of game were Alex's drops, whether it be the one at the top of Young's Island at the start, or the point defense drop into his base. Both of those seem to pay huge dividends. Either way though, do you think Alex could have won in the end? Perhaps if the chicken had just been a little sooner onto Ops Island? What do you think? Tell me in the comments below. While you're down there, don't forget to like, subscribe, and obey. I'm TheCommissar, and I will see you next time.